Wait, there we go. Wait, hold on. Okay, now I'm echoing. Hold on. You know what happened? I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button, guys. So, can you guys hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. I am super sorry for that. I totally started off my podcast in a bad way, but it's okay. I hope y'all can forgive me now. I hope you can forgive me for being stupid. It's early in the morning, so that's my excuse. My excuse is that in the morning, maybe my brain is not clicking as fast as it should. I do have my coffee though, and coffee makes everything better. It went for people like me, right? So anyway, I am so sorry, everybody. Please forgive me. Thank you, Renee and Felicia and Brooklyn Black. I appreciate you. Put your B1 in the chat. Put your B1 in there. Let me know if you can hear me okay, and let me know what city you're from. And I'm super sorry for the. I wasted literally 2 minutes of your life by making you sit here and look at me as a meme and making hand signals and stuff, trying to figure out what's going on. I am so damn sorry for that. Anyway, so forget all the apologizing. Let me just make it up to you. How about that? How about I just make it up to you by giving you some conversation and a discussion that I believe is going to help you see the world in a much better way. It has to do with this lady, Joyanne Reid. And I really thought that there was a conversation worth having as it pertains to some comments she made about Cornel West. As you guys know, Cornel West is running for president. Cornel is a guy that I've known for a long time. I have a certain degree of appreciation for Cornel West, even if he's not my political cup of tea, even if he's a Marxist and I'm not a Marxist, I still like Cornel West. And so, why don't? So, what I want to do is kind of hop into this. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Say something in the chat. Let me know that you're here, and let's get it started. And also, in case you can't find me on Instagram anymore, just know that there's a consequence to reading Dr. Claude Anderson books in public. And one of the consequences is that my Instagram, right after I read Dr. Anderson's book publicly, Instagram took me down because they claimed that I was promoting hate speech because I mentioned what Dr. Anderson had to say in his book about immigration policy being bad for Black people. Also, I think it was also related to me mentioning affirmative action and how affirmative actions benefited white women more than Black people. So they define that as hate speech. It's life, you deal with it. But my Instagram is actually the Black Financial Channel now. So if you want to go to the Black Financial Channel, just feel free to follow me there. And also, if you want to stay connected in a way that they can't interfere with, just text stock to 31996. I will send you profit alerts on stocks that I believe are great investments. I send out a profit alert that's going to be released this morning about 9 a.m. And this is an asset that I know is going to make you money long term. I'm putting thousands of dollars of my own family's money into this asset. So I sent you guys this on the profit alert. So just text the word stock to 31996 and you'll receive that in your text message. That way Instagram can't get in the way. All right, so let's hop into the topic today. Let's talk about the thing that was on my brain this morning. It had to do with Joyanne Reid at MSNBC. Give me a guess if you've heard of Joyanne Reid, if you know who she is. Joyanne Reid is a Black woman who is, she's not a stupid lady. I'm not here to call her stupid. I'm not here to be mean or anything like that. But I am here to kind of tell you the game and kind of break some of this down for you in terms of what goes on in terms of politics and the manipulation of Black people. I believe that politically speaking in this country, there is a mass manipulation of Black people that consistently occurs. And typically the people that are used to do this are people that look like you. And I want to kind of talk about this in terms of seeing things that I observe. And there's a brother over at TD Hip Hop Media, which is a great platform that everybody should subscribe to. And he actually brought this to my attention in his podcast. And I wanted to kind of finish up on some of that conversation and give you kind of a Dr. Boyce breakdown of this. So anyway, Joyanne Reid said some things that were really interesting about Cornel West. Now, how many of you are aware that Cornel West is running for president? Let me know if you know that Cornel is trying to become the next president of the United States. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'd be very shocked if Cornel was ever elected as president. I don't think that's going to happen. However, I think he's making a point. In terms of agitating, and I think that there is a benefit to having outside agitators in any sort of political system. The agitators are the people who stand outside the fence and bang on the door and kind of draw attention to the issues that the insiders are not talking about. So Cornel West is that agitator, and I think that agitation is good. Now, one thing that Joyanne Reid said that got my attention was she literally said that Donald Trump is the white Cornel West. This was on Twitter, according to the brother TD Hip Hop Media, and he showed it on the screen. And he said, "Am I missing something, or is Donald Trump basically the white Cornel West?" Um, and I don't know exactly, what she meant precisely, but I can say that I want to ask you all this. You can, whether you vote for Cornel West or not is irrelevant here. It's totally fine who you vote for. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't care who you vote for. I just want to make sure that that's clear. Give me a yes if we understand each other. That you can vote for whoever you want. I will love you regardless. I'm not here to judge you and tell you who you need to vote for. But do you think that Cornel West is the black Donald Trump, or that Donald Trump is the white Cornel West? Give me a yes or no. I mean, does that comment even make sense? How many of you think that Cornel West is the white Donald Trump, or the black Donald Trump, or Donald Trump is the white Cornel West? Sorry, I got it wrong. How many of you even think that statement even makes sense? Give me a yes if you think that comment it makes sense. Give me a no if you think it's crazy. It's inaccurate. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it's ridiculous. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. It's not a statement that adds up in any way. And then if you read further down her tweets, and again, the brother TD Hip Hop Media brought this up first, and I just respect his platform so much. She kind of keep going in and talking about what Cornel did. Obama ran for president, and I guess in her mind she feels like Cornel was a bad person. He was a hater on Obama, and that makes her very angry. And the thing about it though is that Cornel West actually supported Obama more than she did. Cornel West supported Obama when nobody else would. Cornel West was one of the reasons that Obama even got into office. So he was very supportive of Obama. What he did though was he simply asked Obama to do his job. He simply asked Obama to keep campaign promises, and that's what led him to becoming public enemy number one. And if you remember, Michael Eric Dyson, unfortunately, and it broke my heart because I like Cornel and Mike. I know them, these guys both very, very well, and and I talked to both of them extensively about the other. I talked to Michael at Brown University. He and I had a debate, and he and I talked for a good 2 hours about his frustrations with Cornel. I talked to Cornel for 5 hours about some of his frustrations with Dyson. And I remember just feeling like this really sucks. This makes me angry because this is what this Democrat Republican nonsense does to the black community. The Democratic Republican nonsense is designed, in my view, to achieve one simple goal of black oppression, which is divide and conquer. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. Divide and conquer is literally a strategy that's been used by oppressors to control the black community since slavery, right? And divide and conquer means that you take two guys, Cornel and Mike, Michael Eric Dyson, two guys who should be friends, two guys who did great things together, and then you divide them based on politics. Which white man are you going to vote for? Which massa are you going to serve? I go work for McDonald's, you go work for Burger King. So you and me get off into some old gangster shit and start kicking each other's ass over who's going to eat a Whopper versus who's going to eat a Big Mac. That's what it is. That's what it is. And it's embarrassing. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. It shows weakness. It's unbelievable. And I'm gonna tell you like this: you'll never win, black people, as long as you submit to this sort of nonsense. As long as you allow them to do apartheid on you and to divide you, or do you like the Hutus and the Tutsis? The Hutus and the Tutsis in Rwanda. Anybody remember that? Give me a yes if you heard about the massacres in Rwanda that occurred because they took the Hutus and the Tutsis and they took black people, divided them. Anybody know about that? If you don't know about it, I need y'all to Google that, okay? I need you to Google it because this is how white supremacy works around the world. You want to talk about white supremacy? Let's talk about it. Or they do this around the globe. They said, okay, you're the good Negroes, you're the bad Negroes, and we're going to put you in two separate camps, and then we want y'all to kill each other, just like Crips and Bloods. They did this in India. The United States did this in India. They did it in where you have different. It wasn't just the U.S. that did it. It was really it actually came from the British. But they would literally sort darker people by how dark your skin was and have them killing each other over their skin color. And then you had what was another one? Iran. The United States government went to Iran, and for so many years they propped up a fake government. They basically had the Iranian equivalent of house Negroes that they gave benefits to, artificial power to, and those people eventually abused those who didn't have the power. And so what happened in the 1970s is that the people eventually took that power back. They went up in that American embassy and got to whooping ass. Go look it up. Go look it up. And the reason I need you to look it up is because I need you to understand ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing new under the sun. This is what they have been doing to black people and brown people all around the world since for thousands of years. So this is not new. And before the Americans did it, the British did it, and the French did it, and all this other stuff. So what I see with Cornell and Michael Eric Dyson and this whole nonsense of black people wanting to beat each other up because you're a Trump supporter and I'm not. I just see a repetition of history. And I need you, and I understand. I don't blame you if you don't understand these things because they don't teach you these things in school. They teach you a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. That's why you come out and you don't understand the game. Well, I'm here. I'm a professor. That's my job. My job is to teach. And one of the things I want to teach you is I want you to understand how divide and conquer works and how divide and conquer ultimately ends up harming all of you. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. And I want to give a shout out to Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club. Dr. Quigless is a respected black dentist in St. Louis, and he can take care of all your fresh breath needs. He has an all-natural at-home dental care subscription with bamboo toothbrushes, mint and charcoal toothpaste tablets, and charcoal teeth whitening strips. So if you want to not just take a look at his black-owned products, remember you're spending all your money with Colgate and Colgate and Crest and all that. Stop giving them your money. Go to Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club. Support a black-owned business. Black people own more businesses before integration and before affirmative action than we do right now. Maybe with affirmative action being gone, we'll let go of the false American dream and grab onto the real black American dream or the black people's dream, which is to actually own businesses and have power. Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club is a great place to start. If you brush your teeth, if you don't want to have stinky breath, go to Dr. Q's Fresh Breath Club. He also has an affiliate program where you can sell his products and get a percentage. Also, I want to remind everybody that if you have kids and you want to educate them on economics in the Black Business School, we believe in teaching our children finance at a level of college students. I can do this. This is what I've been doing for 30 years. Just go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com and basically everything I taught my students at Syracuse University, I'd love to teach your kids. We cover real estate, crypto, stock market investing, everything. So blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com is our Black Business School for children. All right, so let's hop back into the topic of today. All right, so the topic of today had to do with Joy-Ann Reid. And Joy-Ann Reid, as you hit the thumbs up button, Joy-Ann Reid effectively referred to Donald Trump as the white Cornel West, which I thought was just the craziest thing to say on earth. But it's not so crazy if you really process it. Right? If you really think about what's happening here. I saw another article, and again, the brother from TD Hip Hop Media pointed this out. I got to make sure I'm 100% clear that he inspired the thinking that I have this morning. So I don't want to sit there and act like these are all ideas that I came to on my own. I just saw it, and it's almost like I'm doing a remix on a hit song that he made. It's kind of like that. So effectively, this brother, he also pointed out an article that Joy-Ann Reid wrote, where he basically where Joy-Ann was basically sort of saying that Cornel's campaign has roots in the right wing, in sort of right wing conservatism, right? And the reference that she appeared to make in the article was related to Christianity. And that Cornel West, because he agreed with something that Ron DeSantis had said. It's not that he wants to be like Ron DeSantis. It's not that he's voting for Ron DeSantis. He just said that I think that it's okay to allow Christian faith to be implemented into educational curricula. Right? It had to do with a scholarship related to the classics, something kind of insignificant. But they basically said, "Ha ha, you're a right winger. You're a right-wing conservative. Ha ha! You said Christian. You said you're a Christian." Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. How many of y'all were raised Christian? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. All the Christians in the building, raise your hand. You ain't got to go to church. I'm raising both hands because my mama and my daddy are pretty much Christian pastors. My mama just don't be preaching at the church. My daddy preaches at the church, but my mama be preaching at the house. Seriously, I have a strong Christian background. Give me a yes. Everybody in here that considers themselves a Christian, was raised a Christian, raise your hand. And I want to ask you another question after I ask you this. And I'm making a point here, I promise you. Does being a Christian make you a right-wing Republican? Yes or no? Does being a Christian mean that you are a member of the KKK, that you want to join the KKK or the Proud Boys or something, or that you want to go out and, get to lynching Negroes tomorrow? Really, what do you think? Yes or no? Do you think that means Because you go to church, that means you hate black people, and that you align yourself with racists because you don't want to. You're not mad at every white person you see, and you don't think every single white person you meet wants to kill you. And the reason I ask you this question is because I need you to understand the difference between regular people and political entertainers. Regular people are people who understand nuances of society and respect that. Regular people are the ones who say, like you and I, regular people are the ones who say, I'm not going to vote for the same person you voted for. Maybe you voted for Trump and I didn't, or you voted for Biden and I didn't. But I can sit down and talk to you, have a cup of coffee with you, have dinner with you, and I can hear everything you say, respect and agree with some and disagree with others. I go to the family barbecue. I got an uncle, I got Uncle Joe who says stuff that I think is out of his mind, but I still love Uncle Joe. I just think he's stupid over on this particular topic. Uncle Joe ain't got no sense when it comes to money. He ain't got no sense when it comes to women. He's a little bit sexist. He's a little bit old fashioned, but I love my Uncle Joe. How many of y'all see that's what regular people do, right? And a lot of you, like I consider myself like one of these regular people who understands the nuances of life, right? Now, then you got the other category, another category of what you call political entertainers. Political entertainers are people that are on TV who are paid, who are compensated and make their money by dividing the country as much as they possibly can. They get paid by various political parties because the money trickles down, right? When the political parties are running for office, they dump money onto these little networks, and I'm talking about everything from Roland Martin across to MSNBC to Fox News to the right wingers, the Ben Shapiro types and people like that. They get paid to just act a damn fool. They get paid for single-minded extremism that really only works on the internet. They get, Candace Owens is unfortunately Candace Owens is like a cartoon character. And then on the left, on the other side of a Candace Owens, you might have like a D.L. Hughley, who unfortunately also makes himself a little bit one-dimensional because it becomes a vote blue no matter who. And for Candace, it is, she sits next to her husband, who's not a black man, and literally uses every black talking point she can find to get black people riled up and re-traumatized over the things that are already pissing us off. Even though she doesn't seem to provide a lot of meaningful solutions to help solve these problems. If you ask her about something like reparations, I don't know her position exactly, but I'm willing to bet you that Candace is not a supporter of black reparations because her bosses won't allow that. So what I'm saying to you is that you've got these political entertainers who make money by riling you up. They make money by pissing you off. I've got people in my family, on one side of my family, a lot of them watch MSNBC. And they come back and they're repeating talking points that they heard from Rachel Maddow. And it drives me insane because I literally will be sitting there listening to them framing ideas that they claim are their own. They really say, like, I really came up with this on my own. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, you really are repeating every single thing that you just heard on MSNBC. And then I got people on the other side of my family who watch Fox News. And they, they're Southern Christian black folk. And they repeat talking points from Sean Hannity, from Tucker Carlson, from all of that. And they don't understand how political entertainment is designed for the manipulation of the masses. They also don't understand how this entertainment is profitable. This is a downside of capitalism. See, you got to understand, don't forget, I'm a finance PhD, so I understand capitalism very well. I understand the power of money. I understand what money can do for you and what money can do against you if you are not careful. I understand how money can liberate you or how money can turn you into a slave. And so effectively, one of the downsides of capitalism being injected into your politics is twofold. One, your politicians are all bought and paid for. That's why they do stuff that doesn't make any sense, stuff that's not to the benefit of the American people. If Joe Biden wasn't getting paid by all them damn banks that paid him money to pass that law so that you can't declare bankruptcy on your student loans. They paid him money to do this. He passed this law that nobody asked for that says you can't declare bankruptcy on your student loans. If that hadn't happened, you wouldn't have the student loan crisis right now. Your student loans would probably be gone because there's a good chance you might have said, you know what, let me just do the bankruptcy and take this 100,000 off my balance sheet so I can move on with my life. But you can't do that. Why can't you do that? Well, because somebody paid Biden years ago to push this law through that doesn't allow you to do that. So that's the first artifact. The first artifact of capitalism being injected into your politics is that your politicians are bought and paid for. People on the left, like Robert Reich, I believe it was Robert Reich, who's a very smart guy. I think he's a little short guy that was the labor secretary under Clinton. He pointed that out, and I agree with him 100% on this topic. The second thing that money has done is it's created this entertainment media space where politics isn't about making people's lives better. It's not about making good decisions for the future of this country. It's not about helping people have forms of justice and fairness and equality and everything else. Politics for them is just entertainment. It's what talking point can I use to piss you off that day and get you triggered and angry, and the outcome is that you become divided. You become crazy. Like, anybody remember? Give me a guess if you remember during the pandemic how people were not even hanging out with their own relatives because somebody told them that if you hang out with a person who did not get the jab, that person can make you sick. Anybody remember that? Where they literally said that if you didn't get that shot, your cousin could make you sick and you shouldn't have your cousin over for Thanksgiving dinner. Like that's where I drew the damn line. I got so mad. I said, how the hell you going to tell me that I can't see my cousin who's been riding with me since the 1970s and 1980s? I can't have my cousin around because of your damn politics over a virus that doesn't even kill 0.1% of the population. Are you serious right now? I was so angry about that because the problem is that if you get too carried away with this internet nonsense, and these BS people that get their clout by either becoming internet influencers or political commentators, these people will ruin your life. These people will ruin your life. These people will ruin your life. And I'm here to tell you right now that everybody that you listen to, that you see your favorite commentators online or on TV, including me, if they give you any sort of advice or any sort of recommendation and it don't pass the smell test, don't you dare let these people mess your life up. You got people on the internet not just giving crazy extremist views on politics, but that are ruining your relationships with other people. You got people out here giving terrible relationship advice. Well, if you date a single mom, you a simp. You a simp. You a simp, man. You got this woman that loves you, down for you, has your back 100%. Because you worried about what some loser on the internet has to say. Some of these guys sitting up there cross-eyed, sitting there living in their mama's basement. All they got is their YouTube channel, and they up here giving relationship advice like they know anything about relationships, and they ain't even got a woman, ain't even got a good woman at home. Dying alone with some chick that don't even like them because they up here giving this crappy advice, and then they're ruining your life. They're causing you to make bad decisions because you have to learn how to think for yourself. And if you can't think for yourself, then turn this stuff off. Don't listen. The same thing is true on the other side. I'm not just talking about the men. I'm talking about the women too. Ladies, some of y'all throwing away good men because some lady on the internet told you that you shouldn't tolerate that, girl. You shouldn't let him do that to you, girl. If that was my man, girl, I get rid of him. Well, you ain't got no man, so shut up. You got 3 divorces. Shut up, lady. Seriously, it's stupid. If I want relationship advice, I talk to people that know how to have good relationships. I talk to people that have been married 20, 30 years. If I want good advice on politics, I talk to a variety of sources, a lot of different people with different perspectives so I can understand all points of view. If I want good advice on finances, I talk to people that actually have money, that know how to make money, and didn't just make their money by telling people how to make money. They actually made money by investing and making good choices, right? So what I'm saying to you is that a lot of these political entertainers make their money by dividing this country. And let me just tell you, I am 100% certain that America is going to pay a hell of a price for that. I'm 100% certain when they talk about Russian bots and Russian interference, and they want to call every person that talks about reparations a Russian bot, that is, they think that ploy benefits them, right? They think that if they call Tariq Nasheed a Russian bot or the brother of TD Hip Hop Media a Russian bot, that it benefits them. What they don't understand is that you are also the Russian bot. you are also influenced by the Russians. You're also being influenced by the Chinese and any outside entity that is seeking to undermine and destroy America. Because what they're basically doing, the people, and this is my 2 cents now. This is my 2 cents. So I hope you can allow me to share this. Um, I believe that there are people outside this country that want to see America divided. And what they do is they look for pre existing wounds and they just pour salt on the wound. They look for pre existing divisions and they say, how do we make that divide even worse? Right? How do we saw into the wound so that the people will just yell in pain? How do we piss off the black people? And then how do we piss off the white males who feel like they're being left behind? How do we piss off the white women and make them hate their men? How do we piss off black women and get them thinking that black men are the reason for all their problems? And they jump on the internet because the internet's wide open. The Chinese internet ain't wide open like that. They don't open their internet like that because they understand the things I'm talking to you guys about. America's the dummy. America is one of the dumbest countries on the planet right now, to be honest with you, in terms of where this country's going. You're on a sinking ship. I need you to understand this. Make sure our oldest son is trained on Chinese. I said you need to learn Chinese because that's where the power is going. And so ultimately they dig into these wounds to divide the country. And then on one side, you got Fox News pissing people off, got them storming the Capitol, acting crazy. Then you got MSNBC encouraging people to go during the pandemic and burn down buildings and do stuff policies that make no sense, like defund the police. We want to defund. We don't want no funding for the police. Listen, I love you, but I'm about to call you a dumbass. I love you, you dumbass, because if you defund all the police, then guess what? That means not only do you get rid of the bad police, but you get rid of the good police too. Like seriously, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend anybody, but I probably did offend somebody. And if I offended you, I cannot apologize because you're being a dumbass right now. You can't defund all the police because you're killing off the good cops as well as the bad ones. The ones who used to want to help you no longer want to help you because somebody told you on TV that every single cop wants to kill black people when they wake up in the morning. I grew up around cops. I saw the bad cops. I saw the good cops, and I understand something that the political entertainers will never introduce you to, which is nuance. Nuance means that some of them are a problem for sure. Nuance also means that some of them are heroes. I mean, some of them are doing this unbelievable task that I'm not going to do, which is they are showing up to the houses of strangers and putting their lives on the line for people they don't even know. If that's not heroic, I don't know what is. You have my respect because I'm not doing that job. So this idea, so let me tell you what defund the police has gotten Black America. Has anybody, give me a yes or no, give me a yes or no if you live in any of the cities where crime has just gotten unbelievably ridiculous. How many of y'all live in any of the cities like, say, Chicago, where major corporations like Walmart and Target have left because they said the smash and grabs are so bad that we're losing billions of dollars. We're getting the hell up out of here. And then we like, oh, that's racist. Y'all leaving, that's racist. No, I'm sorry. If I got a business in a city and people are walking in the store and just grabbing stuff and walking out and there's nothing we can do, oh, I'm not doing business in that city. You don't do business so you can lose money. You just don't. Or how many of y'all live in cities like Seattle, where I went to Seattle last week. I did a 4-hour training on my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Feel free to go grab a copy of it. I think you're going to like it. And when I was there, every Black person I talked to was telling me that Seattle has been taken over by homeless people, fentanyl addicts who are zombies. A man told me a story about a pregnant woman who was just at a stoplight with her husband getting shot in the car by a guy who just walked up and decided he wanted to shoot somebody that day. Like, out of control. Or you could go to cities like, I don't know, San Francisco. How are things in San Francisco, y'all? Anybody live in the Bay Area? Have things gotten different in the Bay Area since the pandemic? I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm not trying to be a jerk here. But what do you think? Has anybody seen those videos of all the people just going around running roughshod, breaking into people's cars, stealing stuff? Because they know that in certain cities, that the police won't even come unless the crime is above like $1,000. Somebody can literally come up, knock your wife, knock your mama on the head with a brick and take her stuff, and the police won't even show up. They won't even lock the person up no more. So I'm just telling you, these extremist policies, got you looking kind of stupid and crazy. And you can't tell me that a society that buys into the nonsense is going to be a thriving society. Whether you're talking about people on the right storming the Capitol who believe the election was stolen no matter what evidence there is, right? I think that's extreme. So there's a point where, for the sake of preserving your democracy, you have to go ahead and call it one and concede the election and say, you know what, we're going to get you next time. We're going to campaign and win the next election, right? The Republicans that have sense, they were doing that. But you got those people who will swear to the grave that the election was stolen and will not let that go. And I understand. I understand the frustration, but I'm sorry. You have to understand the privilege that you have by having a stable democracy where your elections are not being decided by bloodshed. There are countries around this planet where they can't have an election without somebody getting killed. They can't have an election with a bomb without a bomb going off. In Kenya, people were running down the street, chopping people's heads off with machetes over the election. Do you want to live in a country like that? Is that what you really want? Because that's what you're going to get if you continue to let these political entertainers manipulate you for money. They're manipulating you for money, and they're going to get paid off of that. But eventually the chickens come home to roost, and there's going to be a huge price that all of us will pay for this. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And I want to give a shout out to Aisha Verzi. Aisha Verzi is a friend to the Black Business School and a financial planner. And she also can help you protect your assets and your legacy. She has a one-stop shop brokerage where she can give you personal consultation on things like insurance services, index universal life policies, term with living benefits, whole life policies, and consultations on debt management, and final expense funeral planning concierge. So if you'd like to talk to Aisha, you can actually contact her at Aisha at rverzi, VIRZI.com, or you can call her at 626-340-5746. The numbers on the screen is 626-340-5746. Tell her that Dr. Boy sent you, and give her my love and respect. And also, this podcast is on Spotify. So if you go to Spotify and you look up my name, you'll find it there. And in addition to that, if you'd like to get a shout out on the platform, just go to drboycefinance.com, and Micah will take good care of you. And tell her I sent you too, because Micah will be extra nice to you. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And also, I want to be open to a critique. Change to Come says, Boyce, you're just as bad. You don't research either by your definition of defund the police. I've researched it a little bit, but you might be right. Let's look up a definition. Let's see. Defund the police. What does that mean? Let's see. Let's just see what comes up in Google. And I'm gonna tell you what my interpretation of defund the police is, and why I still think that it did more harm than good to repeat that slogan. Look, I know what defund the police likely means for intelligent people. Defund the police likely, in my view, means not supporting the fact that the police have become basically kind of a military state, that we militarized the cops, particularly during the crack era when they were dealing with dope dealers and they started giving police weapons that would be used on a military battlefield, and also pouring more and more money into arresting people as opposed to getting them the services they need, like mental health services and things like that. I get that 100%. And I think that that's what people with common sense and those who understand nuance really mean. But what I was also hearing from people that were going to the extreme in terms of like traumatizing children and having children, walking around saying, I'm scared of cops because cops are all racist. And I just thought that was too much, because now that little boy from the hood who could have been a great cop in his community doesn't want to be a cop because all his friends are saying, if you're a cop, you're a sellout. Do y'all understand that? Did y'all see that kind of happening? And let me tell you why this was personal to me. I know police work pretty well because my father was a cop for a long time, and so I knew good cops and bad cops. I know black cops in high positions. And one of the police majors I spoke to in Louisville, Kentucky, where Breonna Taylor got killed, he said that I've been trying my butt off to get black officers on the force. He said black people don't want to be cops anymore. He said they used to be seen as a respectable job. They used to be seen as something people wanted to do because we pay the best that we can. We do everything we can to offer benefits. Now nobody wants that job anymore, and my black officers are quitting. My qualified officers are quitting. The good people are quitting. So when the good people quit, guess who they're getting replaced by? They're getting replaced by the skinheads, the quiet Klansmen, the ones who don't give a damn about your child, the ones who will shoot your son and not lose an ounce of sleep over it. So ultimately, it's either those extreme people who don't care, or it's the wimps who just say, I'm just gonna collect my check. I'm not going. If they tell me to come to the crime scene, I'm not coming. If I'm not going to be appreciated for showing up to protect you, then I'm not going to do it. I'm going to drag my feet. And that's what it reminds me of is it reminds me actually of how the black fathers, a lot of black fathers have left the home. It's, of course, it's a complex topic, but really, if you make a man, ladies, this is a secret. This is just Uncle Boyce perspective. I hope that you can receive it. If you make a man feel like he's not important, and you don't make a man feel appreciated for his sacrifices for the family, that man's going to say, "Oh, well, why should I be here? I don't need to be here. Why am I going to go here and sacrifice everything to do all this work and get no appreciation for it? Because all I'm getting is grief. All I'm getting is complaints. All I'm getting is people who don't appreciate what I do. All I get is somebody who's telling me constantly that they don't need me anyway. Well, since you don't need me, then I'm gonna be on. I'm out of here." So the same way we talk about defunding the police, I think that in our households we defunded the dad. We've defunded fatherhood, right? And that's why you ain't got no daddies, and that's why your little girls and your little boys are getting molested by their mama's boyfriends. It's happening all over the country. Nobody talks about it, but it's happening quite often. That's why you got little boys out here thugging in the street because they become these child husbands, these little boy husbands, like that lady in Chicago who's getting beat up by that crazy man who's punching her in the face, and her son had to go to the car and get a gun and kill a man to protect his mama, when really that should have been his daddy's job or a police officer's job. But you defunded the police, you defunded the daddy, so now your 14-year-old son has to become the man of the house. That's not healthy. It does not work. Or you got the little girl out in the street who's like thotting it up because she never received no validation from her father, so she's looking for it from all these penis slinging dope dealers, these thuggish dudes who are happy to get your daughter pregnant, abandon the baby, and throw a couple dollars her way just to get access to her vagina. This is happening. This is really happening. And I don't know why people aren't talking about it. I don't know why people spend so much time being offended by me bringing it up that they don't actually think about what I'm bringing up. They're not actually looking throughout the community. And look around you. You don't believe me? Look around you. I mean, am I the only one seeing this? Am I the only one seeing the fact that most black children can't even read when they graduate from high school? Am I the only one seeing this? Am I the only one that's concerned? Because when you get distracted by the political entertainers on TV, the whole world is crumbling all around you and you don't even see it because you all worried about something that Donald Trump said in the 1990s about black people. Or you worried about something that the Democrats are doing, or Joe Biden running around telling you that if you don't vote for him, then you ain't black. And you caught up in that stuff, you're not even seeing the absolute devastation happening like in your communities. Again, go to these cities, go to the Seattles and the San Franciscos and the Chicagos. Those cities are not better than they were before. In Chicago, they're putting more money in the pocket of people that just got here. They're trying to make illegal immigrants into police officers. Literally, they're literally saying that you don't even have to be a documented citizen to be a cop. What country allows people who are not documented to be police officers? Tell me. I'll wait. Show me any country on this planet. I don't know. I can't think of a single country anywhere that says, "Oh, you can let me ask you this. Can I go to China as an undocumented citizen and become a police officer?" Will they be like, "Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, you can be a cop"? They won't even let me in the country. I went to China to teach a class. They tracked me the entire time I was there. They were like, "Okay, you've been here 10 days. Take your ass back home now." Seriously. This idea, I mean, some of these ideas that they are pushing on you make no sense. They're not logical. If you take them all the way to the end, it's not going to work. And I think that what probably happens is that because we all think differently, I think a lot. I do. And also they say that men have more gray matter in their brain, so we tend to lean more on logic than emotion. And also, I'm a mathematician, which makes me heavily logical. So that means that a person like me who's heavily logical will piss off people who are overly emotional. So I end up hurting people's feelings when I say certain things that I say. And I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to. I can say I can learn from emotional people, and I just hope that emotional people can also learn from logical people. A lot of the policies that are being pursued in this country are not beneficial to the country, and they're not beneficial to Black people. So let me finish up this point about Joyanne Reed and and her issues with Cornel West. Now, one of the things about Reed with West that I thought was really fascinating was how when Joanne found out that Cornell was running for president, she immediately started in with sort of the predictable attack mode statements that people tend to make when a Black person gets out of line. Now, mind you, Joyanne Reed was a big fan of Cornel West when he was supportive of Barack Obama. But when Cornell started to question Barack and started to ask Barack to deliver for Black people, she suddenly saw him as an enemy. And I think that you have to be really cautious about this because why is it that supporting Black people in a meaningful way in solving problems that have never been solved by the Democrats or the Republicans, why does that make people turn you into an enemy? And one of the standard tactics that is used by a lot of people who are in this whole if you don't vote for Biden, then you ain't Black sort of crowd, or vote blue no matter who, is they make this illogical statement to say that that if you're not a Democrat, then you must be a Republican. That if you're not one of us, then you're definitely one of them. And I remember, anybody remember when they did this to Ice Cube? Anybody remember this? When SNL, when they put Ice Cube on SNL and he was played by that big fat comedian who can't get a better job. You know what I'm talking about? He's been on there like 28 years or something, or 22 years or something. And because he can't, a lot of, I mean, just keep it real. Most of the good Black comedians on SNL eventually go on and do great things. The Chris Rocks and the Eddie Murphys and all that. He's not in that category. This brother has had a steady job with SNL for 20 something years. And so they had him play Ice Cube. And you notice in that skit, they had Ice Cube wearing the MAGA hat, right? And this is a symbol and a sign of the dirty politics they use, where they might accuse people who speak against them of being Russian bots or spreading falsehoods or spreading propaganda or spreading lies. But y'all tell me, give me a yes or no. Is Ice Cube in a MAGA hat, is that spreading a lie? Is that a falsehood? Give me a yes or no. Is that false, or has Ice Cube ever worn a MAGA hat? And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you he hasn't. He doesn't do that. I talked to him. He does not do that kind of thing. But there were things that they were pushing online to basically manipulate and control the Black community. Again, like pictures like this, right? And then what also happens is, and this happened in the last election, it's going to happen in this one too. There is this effort to consistently stigmatize and almost try to mute the voices of Black men that many Black women, unfortunately, have become co-conspirators in. They become co-conspirators with their white counterparts, their white zaddies, the Joe Bidens of the world. They are co-conspirators to say, let's shut these Black men up. Let's not let these Black men have a voice because mama's running the house. And I really believe, honestly, that because they spent so much time destroying your men and destroying your community, that this political maneuver that's happening is reflective of what's also happened in a lot of households. You have a lot of households out here where the women have been running the show for so long that when a strong Black man shows up and says, I have a voice, I'm a relevant person who has equity in this household, I'm here to help lead and to be a strong figure in this space. There are women who can't handle that. I'm serious. I hate saying this to some of the women. I don't hope I don't strike a chord and hurt anybody's feelings, but because America has forced the Black woman to be so strong, right? It's not your fault. It's oppression. It's systematic racism. They killed off your men. Sometimes when you run into a real man that's really gonna show up with some masculine energy and some decision making ability and ain't gonna back down from your shit, you go berserk. It freaks you out. It's like, wait a minute, I'm used to driving the car. Who does this Negro think he is driving the car? And then the family falls apart because you end up bumping heads so much that eventually he walks away. He goes in his direction. You go off and you get to be the strong black woman who don't need no man. And you raise your kids by yourself. And he's off getting girls pregnant or living his best life. And that's what it is. That's how it is. The end. That's the black love story in America, unfortunately. So effectively, politically speaking, what you're really observing is you're observing the reemergence of the black man from the dead. The black man was killed off, in my view, from in the 80s, really 70s, 80s, and 90s, when a lot of the deindustrialization happened in cities like Gary, Indiana, and Milwaukee. Black men, lost a lot of good jobs working in steel mills and things like that. That's when you had the emergence of things like the wino and the men who didn't have any purpose anymore, so they sit around just drinking all day. And then you had drugs that came into play. Drugs were the worst thing to ever happen to the black community. I think that we should have a zero tolerance policy on drugs, to be honest with you. I think that any black person who has any tolerance for drugs, and I hate even saying, I know about the healing properties of cannabis. I use CBD oil on my legs all the time because my knees hurt when I run. But getting high on a regular basis has never really served to benefit almost anybody I know when it comes to productivity. I'm not saying that there couldn't be exceptions. I'm just saying that, in fact, if you research it, there are studies right now showing that a lot of this synthetic weed and the fact that they've convinced young people they can sit around and smoke all day, that's having huge effects, not just on their health, but on their productivity. I've talked to a young person I was mentoring, and she said, I can't even think straight. I can't stick to my goals. I don't know what's going on in my mind. And I said, how often do you smoke? She said, that might be it because I smoke 5 times a day. Right. So my point is not to judge or tell anybody what to do. My point is to point things out to you so you can tell yourself what to do. My point is to say that they've been running game on you since the beginning of time, and they're still running game on you right now. And so effectively, the breakdown of the black man has been a prolonged process. It's still in existence. I can throw in things like hip hop music that's taught black men collectively a lot of really bad habits when it comes to their views on women, when it comes to their views on choices and money and liquor and drugs and everything else. And so you've dealt with a lot. You've dealt with your men literally being chopped up in front of you. So the women stand up and have become these strong characters as a result of that. But the problem is that you have some black men who are waking up from the dead. You have a lot of black men who either are waking up from the dead or their family never died. Their father and grandfather were strong enough to resist all the nonsense. And these men are walking around, they're living, breathing, they know how to think, they're intelligent, they're strategic, they make plans, they don't taking care of their damn kids, and they're showing up expecting to be heard. They're showing up expecting to be respected. They're showing up expecting that, look, I'm gonna have a stake up in this too. I'm gonna respect you. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna let you have all the power that you want. I'm gonna celebrate you, but goddamn it, you gonna celebrate me too. I'm going to be irrelevant in this conversation too. So when I see the politics of it all, when I see the Joyanne Reids, or when I see that one lady, Simone Sanders, the one that was built like the linebacker because she was tackling that guy to protect Joe Biden, I see these women that unfortunately have become so overbearing that they're really competing with the men. They're competing with the men in a way that is not beneficial to the community long term. So when the men step up and the men say, we're kind of tired of the same nonsense. We're not doing the same stuff that, you know, that was being done before we got here. No, we're in the household now. This house ain't gonna run the same way it was running before I got here. Your son's gonna get up at 7. Your daughter's not gonna be out in these streets. We're gonna sit down together as a family for dinner. Like all that stuff that ends up being a problem because you've been trained to believe that all of these ideas are just so reflective of an oppressive patriarchy that you fight and resist every single day. And as a result, you end up sleeping with the enemy. You end up in a constant battle. So you can't have love where there's hate. You can't have love where there's competition. You can't have masculinity with more masculinity. That becomes a repelling kind of force. It does not bring people together. It pushes them apart. So effectively, when you show up competing with the man is going to compete with you. And I can tell you as a man, we're pretty good at competition. As a man, I grew up playing football, basketball, running track, playing every sport I could think of. I can compete with you all day. And so you show up competing with me, I'm not going to love you. I'm going to fight you. Right. So effectively, I think that the same thing is happening politically. I think politically speaking, you're seeing men standing up and saying, I'm tired of being bent over by white supremacy. That ain't going to happen. I'm competing with that white man across the street. I want to be as educated as him. I want to be as wealthy as him. I want to be as strong as him. I am as capable as him. And he doesn't want to hear me. He doesn't want to hear what I have to say. When Joe Biden wants to come to the black community, they always come to the women. They always come to the women. They always come to the women for the same reason that a man that is trying to get over and come into your house and get money or get your daughter or get some property that you have, he's going to talk to your wife first and he hopes the husband doesn't come home. Tell me if you don't understand what I'm saying. Can anybody get what I'm saying? I hope I don't sound too old fashioned when I'm saying this, but I hope somebody saying if a man is coming in my house and he's trying to manipulate and trying to get over, he's going to want to talk to the mother. He's not really going to want to talk to me. If a R. Kelly is interested in your daughter, do you think R. Kelly wanted to go into houses where the daughter had a strong father who was watching his every move? Do you think that R. Kelly? You think he could sweet talk the daddy the same way he sweet talks the mama? Because he comes in there, he's tall, he's handsome, he says the right things, he brings some flowers. Next thing you know, she trusts him, invites him over for dinner, says, "Oh, he's such a nice young man," right? But the father sees through all of that. They see through all that. So men and women, I believe, have different vision, and I think that men and women have a different ability. At least I will say, as a man, I feel like I have an innate ability played. And I'm not saying women can't see that too, but one of the things that is happening in politics is that the Democratic Party loves to sweet talk the black community. The Democratic Party loves to give black people a lot of symbolism as opposed to substance. The Democratic Party loves to throw out these feel good gestures like, I don't know, Juneteenth concerts or telling you that Black Lives Matter and all, or thank you, black women, for helping us win this election, right? They say all these things, right? They say all these things because it sounds good and feels good. And I think that there's some people who are more susceptible to the sweet talk than others. There are some people like me, I'm like, I don't care what you said. I need to know the substance behind what you do. I'm not for flash. I'm not looking for symbolism. I'm looking for substance. And as I go through, I'm like, there ain't no substance here. You're just saying a bunch of stuff to make us feel good. That's not going to help us solve a problem. And this actually goes back to relationships. I don't know if any of y'all know this, but has anybody ever heard this? Tell me if you've ever heard this. They say that this is something that took me the longest time to understand this because I don't think this way. This is a little tip for anybody. Somebody told me this a long time ago, and I read it in a book, and it's scientifically true. They said if a woman comes and tells you about something that's upsetting to her, like if your wife or girlfriend comes to you and she's very upset about what happened that day, or she's emotionally distressed, the first thing you're going to want to do as a man is you're going to want to solve the problem. Am I right or am I right? And the first thing you want to do as a man, and you're like, okay, well, if you're having this problem with your coworker, why don't you just quit the job and then go work somewhere else or tell the HR people, right? You have a solution. You're thinking solution. But one thing I learned, and this didn't make any sense to me, is that you're not supposed to solve the problem right away anyway. You're not supposed to do it. You know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to sit there and just listen. That's what they tell you to do. I kid you not. This is what therapists tell you. Just listen. You want to listen, you validate, you connect, you confirm, you engage in active. Wow, no, are you serious? Did he really do that? Oh, that's terrible. Wow, really? How did that feel? Like, you got to say something. That was so weird to me. When I heard that, I was like, but if it's an easily solvable problem, why are we sitting here bitching together over a problem that can be easily solved? I don't understand that. But maybe it's not my job to understand that. I'm a mathematician, though. In mathematics, you're supposed to solve a problem. You're not supposed to just sit and bitch about it for 8 hours. Like I just don't get that, right? So it doesn't mean that women are stupid or ridiculous or wrong. It just means that we're different. That's my point. It means that we're different, and we bring different energy to a conversation. So as I can say, as a black man, when I see Joyanne Reid or any of the black women that are promoted to high, powerful places in society, specifically so they can engage in the joint act of oppressing the black man, I personally become resentful, and in the sense that I understand the game, and I'm hoping others understand the game. I married a black woman who understands the game. My wife understands the game and knows that she benefits from the game. My wife understands very clearly that the university that hired her light skinned, high yellow ass is not the university that would hire my loud mouth, dark skinned ass. Like they don't hire African American males at her institution. There are none on the faculty anywhere in any department, not one single African American male. And the reason that I love my wife and respect her and appreciate her voice is because she understands, she gets it. She knows that my path to power and success can't be the same as her path to power and success. Just like on The Godfather of Harlem, Bumpy Johnson's path to power, it couldn't be the same as Mamie's path to power. Bumpy Johnson was a notorious gangster in Harlem back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And Bumpy Johnson got power by going outside of the white man's channel. Whereas Mamie was, she was doing the little clubs and the civil rights groups and everything else. And so effectively, in a way, I'm kind of like Bumpy Johnson. I'm the guy that isn't gonna necessarily fit into the same spaces as my wife. And I'm not asking my wife to go into those spaces with me. I just ask her to respect my contribution and to acknowledge that it's a little bit different from me than it is for her. That there are places that she can go and be accepted that I can't go and be accepted. They might love her and embrace her, but they're going to fear me. And in fact, the reason I also admire her is because she accepts the idea that they're going to embrace her less when they learn that she is conspiring with me, that she's working with me. If she was married to an Italian guy, they would probably view her differently than when they Google her husband and say, "Ooh, you're married to this guy?" Or when that happened, believe me, let me just tell you that when that happened, they started looking at her different. Like, oh, you must not be the safe Negro that we thought you were. We thought that you were safe because you're light skinned, right? And this is the reality of life that I observe. Look, I'm not sitting here pretending to be an expert. I'm just telling y'all what I see. And this is the world according to Boyce, right? So this is not me giving you what I think is any kind of definitive truth about blackness. It's really just me saying these are some of the dynamics that we're dealing with, and these play out in American politics. And they also played out on the plantation. You had the house Negroes and the field Negroes. To this day, you still got the house Negroes and the field Negroes. You got the black folks that are sitting right next to Joe Biden. Joe's in their ear, sending them marching orders. These Negro managers are going out with these marching orders and controlling and seeking to control the thinking of black people. And their job, what they're compensated for on a personal basis, is to make sure that as many black people as possible show up and vote blue no matter who, and go do whatever they're told to do. And that's how they get their money. That's how they get paid. And then you've got people that are the so-called field Negroes, like me, who don't get it, who aren't part of mainstream society, who aren't going to end up, being on TV like a Joy Reid or whatever. And we have a voice too, and our voice is very important. And here's what I think you can do. Actually, is I think you can listen to all those voices. I really do. I think that you can accept everybody's contribution, but just understand what their individual bias is, right? Like, so maybe if you're listening to a Joy Reid, which I don't fault you for doing that. Maybe you just say, okay, I hear what she's saying, but some of what she's saying is driven by the fact that she has to have loyalty to her boss, right? It's like if you work at McDonald's and I come see you and you're my cousin, then part of you is going to greet me in a certain way because you're my cousin and we go way back like that. But then there's a part of you that's where your behavior is going to be shaped by the fact that you're also at work at that time. You wearing a McDonald's uniform. Now, that does not mean that you love McDonald's more than you love me, but it does mean that the family's agenda is not your primary agenda. What the family wants is not primarily what you want, at least not at that moment. What the family says isn't necessarily the top priority for you in that moment because you work at McDonald's. The top priority for you is to go in the back and flip them burgers and serve your customers, and that ends up taking precedence over your ability to serve your family. So this is where wealth comes into the conversation. The reason that Black wealth is so important is that the more wealthy Black people you have, the more economically strong Black people you have, the more people you will have that don't have to put on a McDonald's uniform in order to survive. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you have a Joy Reid who says, you know what, I really want to do these good things for the Black community, but I can't. I have to sell my soul to a point because Joe Biden is paying my bills. Well, what if Joy Reid or whoever is a Black person that is independently capable of paying their bills without selling their time to their employer, aka putting on the McDonald's uniform, right? If my cousin has enough wealth where he doesn't have to put on the McDonald's uniform in order to survive, give me a yes if you follow. Please give me a yes if you follow. I know I say a lot, and I'm hoping that I'm not talking. I don't want to talk over nobody's heads, right? And I know I talk a lot, but I have to get this point out because I think that it's something that we can benefit from. If my cousin has enough independent wealth that he doesn't have to put on that McDonald's uniform, then that means that all the time he spent serving his master can be spent serving the family. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are independent and free financially, then you can do what you want to do. You don't have to do what your boss is telling you to do. You don't have to do what Biden is telling you to do. You don't have to do what UPS is telling you to do. You don't have to spend time serving other people. You can spend time you don't have to spend time serving people you hate. You can spend time serving people you love. So the number one problem with Black people have in this country is not political, it's economic. But the economics drives the politics. Remember, America is a capitalist society. Capitalism is the big brother, and politics is the little brother. The big brother tells the little brother what to do. The big brother runs the show. The big brother is controlling the whole narrative. The capitalism, the money is driving everything. Raphael Warnock could not have gotten elected down in Georgia if somebody had not put $250 million into his campaign or whatever the number was. It was insane. Black people didn't write them damn checks. In case you missed the memo on how politics works in America, here's a Dr. Boyce quickie summary on how your politics works in America and the role that you play when they tell you to vote blue no matter who. The people that have the money, aka corporations, billionaires, capitalists, just rich people, write big checks. And they write these checks to make a purchase on behalf of the candidate. They make a deal with the candidate. They say, we're going to buy you voters. And in exchange for us buying voters for you, you're going to implement policies that we want. You're not working for them, you're working for us. And when they say we're going to buy voters for you, what does that mean? That means we're going to give you so much money that you can market the shit out of your little stupid campaign and convince simple-minded people that you're their friend so they all show up and vote for you. And because these people don't expect anything in return for their vote, that's cool. You give the benefits to us. After all, we wrote the check. So what you are is you are part of the transaction. You are a commodity. In this process, you're like if I run a farm and I tell KFC I'm gonna sell you 10,000 chickens, the chickens ain't got no say in the process. The chickens are not the beneficiaries of any of this. There is no part of this process where the farmer selling KFC chickens is thinking like, well, what can we do for the well-being of the chickens? How do we make sure the chickens have better lives? The chickens' lives matter. That's the slogan we'll use. No, they buy you. They write the check. Without those checks, they can't get elected. Because all they do is they'll take the money, run bigger and bigger marketing campaigns, and you'll eventually vote for them because they're being marketed to you like crazy. And because the human brain can be hacked, because they know exactly what you think. They know exactly how to speak like you speak. Hey, y'all, we all got to make sure we go to the polls out after church on Sunday, y'all, because Joe Biden is running for office. And if those Republicans get in office, they going to kill every black person and make us all into slaves again, girl. Like, seriously, they do all this because they study you. They're like, oh, okay, black people listen to celebrities. Let's go pay off a couple of rappers to go and do a concert. And then they're all going to vote for us because they want a concert. Because they're not going to be thinking about the process that much. They buy the voters. You get bought and sold by these wealthy people. So effectively, if you look at this process and you say, okay, who are the beneficiaries of this? It's the people who write the checks. It's not the people who deliver the votes. The vote is simply something that they purchase in order to fulfill their agenda. They're like, okay, we got to pretend like we're a democracy. Well, really, we're like some sort of capitalist oligarchy or something, but we have to pretend like we're a democracy. So how do we do that? Oh, I know. We flood the campaign system with cash and then force people to vote. And then if they don't vote, we make them feel like crap. Or if they vote for someone other than the candidate we tell them to, one of the two options we give them, then we're going to get other people that we pay, like the Joy and Reids, to go and harass those people into the ground until they finally submit to doing what we tell them to do. So that means we're going to ostracize them from their friends and family. We're going to make fun of these people. We're going to call them Russian bots. We're going to do all kinds of stuff to make those people feel like they have to go along with the crowd. And they're going to do it. You know why they're going to do it? Well, because studies show that 70% of all people will go along with the crowd, even if the crowd is wrong. And that's why I tell you definitively and unapologetically that I am not looking to talk to those 70%. I want to talk to the 30% who have the courage to do what the hell you want to do. I am not here to tell you to do what I tell you to do. I'm not here to tell you to be like Boyce Watkins. I'm not here to tell you to go and support whatever candidate I want to support. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you to support yourself. How in the hell are you going to have people that get mad at someone like me because I simply say do what's best for yourself? Is your self-esteem that shot and dead? Is your commitment to white supremacy that great that you're like, how dare you tell me to take care of me and my own family? How dare you tell me to put myself first? And you told me to put black people first. What's wrong with you? Nigga, hey, nigga, you out your mind, nigga. The Negro naysayers are everywhere. It's crazy. It's so crazy. You'd be amazed how many people accuse me of being a Republican because I simply tell black people, just do what you want to do. I don't care who you vote for. Just meet me at the convention. Let's kick it. Let's talk about black people and black wealth and educating our kids and all that. Let's talk about solving problems. I'm not even going to ask you if you're a Democrat or Republican. Do you know how many friends I have where I have no idea who they voted for? I have so many people that I work with and I admire and I love. And some of them voted for Biden. Some of them voted for Trump. Some of them voted for nobody. Some of them voted third party. I don't give a shit. The reason I don't care is because my brain is wired to look at results. My brain is wired to say 2 + 2 is 4, and 2 + 0 is still 2, and 2 - 100 is -98. So black people are just doing really bad math right now because we're going backward. So instead of going to and adding -100 to our little 2, how about we add 2? Or 0, at least they break even. How about, or maybe we can add +98 and then we'll have a +100. But y'all add -98. Y'all literally, they got people out there telling you that 2 + -100 is +3,000. That's literally the stupid math that they have y'all doing. They literally got you thinking, well, if 2 + -100, that's going to be 4,595. I can't tell you that is correct. I just know too much. Look around you. You don't believe me? Look around you. Why is it that I end up having to feel so alone when I simply say something like, it's a fucked up situation that 90-something% of our kids are graduating from these schools run by white people and they can't even halfway read or write or do math. Their work ethic is shot to shit. Seriously, do y'all know has anybody else noticed this? Like, seriously, I know somebody who said, I hired a black person and a Latino person to do the same job, and I was rooting for the black person, and I couldn't hire the black person because she couldn't count and she wouldn't show up for work. I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm not saying that at all. This is certainly not intelligent black people. But y'all can't tell me you don't know what I'm talking about. You can't tell me you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Some of these young people are coming out of these damn schools. They're not prepared to do nothing. They're not prepared to succeed at all. And I'm not making fun of it. I have to keep saying that because sometimes, again, because I'm so logical and direct, I hurt people's feelings. But I don't know. Are you really ready to fight this white supremacy thing? Maybe that's the solution. Maybe for some people the solution is just submit, just submit, just go let Joe Biden be your baby daddy, and hope that the system doesn't beat you too bad. Maybe that's the solution for some people. Maybe to take on that battle. I don't know, but I do know it's a damn shame. It is a crime. It is horrible, and you're spending billions of dollars doing this, but yet you won't give a penny to Freedom Home Academy or Nation of Islam or King Randall School down in Georgia that's actually able to teach black children at a level that's going to maximize their success. Oh, but it all starts to make sense when I realize that you don't give a damn about us. It's only confusing if I think that you actually care. But since when in this country has anybody really cared that much about the fate of black people? I ask you this. And who led you to believe falsely that suddenly everything changed? That suddenly these people who never cared about you are suddenly seeking to do things that are in your best interest? That's not logical. That's not the situation that you're in. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. My new Instagram is the Black Financial Channel. So if you want to follow me on the gram, feel free to do that here. And also, I want to remind everybody that if you are solution oriented, the All Black National Convention is happening October 20th. It's going to be in Atlanta. And we've gathered over 40 experts from the black community that can solve problems in a lot of different areas, from politics to relationships to business to crypto to investing to family, everything, right? So, and what we've done is we look for people that are proven to be successful in those areas. For example, one family we're inviting is Dr. Mary Stoddard and her husband, Marcus. Marcus Stoddard is one of the leading cardiologists on the planet. And Mary grew up as a sharecropper with 17 brothers and sisters in Louisiana. And every single one of her brothers and sisters all graduated from college. Literally, you talk. I like talking to those black people that remind me of the possibilities that occur when you're willing to work hard. I love hearing from those black people that aren't going to sit around and tell me how oppressed we are. I want to hear about all the black people that tell me how blessed we are. And so Mary Stoddard came from a family where there were 17 brothers and sisters, and all of them were sharecroppers in Louisiana. You don't get much poorer than that. And literally every single one of them finished college. And on top of that, Mary has a law degree and a PhD, and her 5 children are all medical doctors or PhDs. When I see a blueprint like that, oh, I want to multiply that. It's like manufacturing a new Tesla. Like, that's how you manufacture a great product. If you want to mass produce ordinary black people, here's what you do on a very simple basis. You take advantage of various forms of industrialization. What we got to do is, instead of looking to these people that don't love us to tell us what it means to be successful, we got to find those people in the community that have figured it out. People in the community that have solved the problem. And say, how did you do it? What did you do? Motherhood needs to be a science. Fatherhood needs to be a science. We need to study that. Like, how can I be the kind of father that's going to produce children that are going to be enormously successful? How do I be the kind of mother that can raise a baby from the womb to the point where that child is wealthy and happy and successful and a positive contributor to the community? See, we've got to take over this process. We need to be the center of education for our children. We need to be the center of motivation for those kids. We need to be the spiritual and psychological center for those children. We need to be the ones who are the guiding force in terms of shaping the kinds of adults that they become. Give me a Yes, understand what I'm saying. So I personally think that that sitting around and doing the same thing we've been doing for the last 60 years, we know that's not going to work. We've tried it 60 years, it has not worked. I think that sitting around being mad at white people all day, that ain't going to work. Don't get me wrong. I don't. I know we ain't got no friends over there, but I'm not sitting around go sit and talk all day about what the white man's doing. Only way I'll talk about it is so that we can form a solution. Also, I don't want to sit around and talk about how we don't have nothing because we black. I don't like living in the deficit model. You don't understand what that does to your psychology. If you are constantly thinking like that you're barely surviving and that you're barely making it and that you just praying to Jesus that you're gonna be all right and it's hard to you can't make it, but as a black person, then what kind of success level do you think you're ever going to have? You will never have success if you are so busy occupying your brain space with all of your doubt, all of your fear, all of your weakness, all of your insecurity, that you don't have 1 inch of space in that brain of yours to sit and process all the possibility that God gave you. You can't even process the fact that we've got 1.6 trillion in economics flowing through our community that could elevate us to whatever level we want. Instead, we spend so much time being depressed and sad about how hard it is to be black. Well, this makes sense because, well, this is what the pimps did to you. This is what the pimps are doing. The pimps are we're their little hoes, basically, and they're teaching us, you ain't nothing, you black. Oh my God, look at this. Let me show you this video of a black person being beaten up. Let me show you something let me show you some more trauma porn of a black person being shot by the cops so you can sit around and be scared all day. And then when you're scared, because here's the thing you got to understand, people who are afraid are heavily implicit. People who are scared will do what you tell them to do without questioning anything about what you say. Do y'all know that? How many of y'all know that? How many of you know that one great tactic to get people to obey is to make them scared? Did y'all know that? That's psychology. And who gets shivery and scared faster than black people? We are the easiest people on earth to scare. And I don't think it has to be that way, right? I'd rather talk about what we're capable of doing than to talk about all the things that we're not capable of doing. That's just not fun for me. I don't want to be on the losing team. So, a couple of things I want to mention here to just kind of close out, because you guys know we started off talking about Joanne Reid and the Cornel West thing, but y'all know how I am. I like to go into the details of everything. I don't like to just talk about the big picture. I like talking about the little picture. So the one thing about Joanne Reid, a couple more things I'll mention really quick is I thought it was really interesting that Joanne positions herself as a person who is a vote blue no matter who kind of person. So what effectively you're seeing with this political entertainment is this sort of gang affiliated politics that says no matter what the Democrats do to black people or against black people, you have to support them because they're going to be better than the Republicans. That's pretty much the standard argument that they make. I'm not even here to argue against that argument. That's life, whatever they want to believe. But I also think that what happens as a result of this, these distorted politics is that there end up being a lot of lies, a lot of propaganda, a lot of fear, a lot of censorship, sort of being spread through the community, because the goal is to keep black people exactly where they are, to keep black people doing exactly what we've been doing in every election. And in time, they can say what they want to say. And then, you have Biden sort of coming back and saying, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. And that's also problematic because that speaks of a type of paternalistic ownership that many white liberals feel when it comes to black people. They feel that they own you. They feel that they can control you. They feel that they know better about what's best for you than you do, right? And then as a result of that, it becomes like a relationship between siblings where the white man becomes the older brother, you become the little brother. And so with the big brother, he always eats before the little brother. The big brother, he gets to do what he wants to do before the little brother. So that's why, for example, you see schools like Chicago where they have 55 public schools where the children can't, not one single child in those 55 schools can read or do math at grade level. Well, the reason that nobody's fixing the problem is because they care more about the teachers' unions than they care about the kids, right? It doesn't mean it's the teacher's fault, right? We know that it's complex. But the thing is that if this were their children, it would be a state of emergency, right? But because it's your children, it's like, yeah, we can let black children suffer as long as the teachers union is taken care of. So this paternalism is a problem because it deviates from what I've been talking to you guys about. I believe we need as a community to have a black first philosophy, and I think it requires us to really fight for that. And so one of the things I will say to you in terms of a simple solution, the solution is economics. I don't care who you voted for. I'm not looking for you to vote blue no matter who. I'm not looking for you to vote red. I don't care about any of that. What I'm looking for from you is I need you to vote for yourself. I need you to vote green. And what that means is I think that a wealth plan and an economic plan for all of our families is absolutely essential and critical. In fact, if you text the word text text the word stock to 31996. And this morning, actually, I'll send you some stocks, some AI stocks that I like. And actually, there's an AI ETF that I was talking to my students about last night. AIQ. AIQ is the ticker symbol, and it allows you to invest in a bunch of AI companies by just buying one stock. It's almost like an ETF is almost like a multivitamin. You know, if you need vitamin D, vitamin B, vitamin C, you can take a multivitamin and it'll give you all of that, right? So this ticker, the ticker is AIQ, and it's a stock that I'm buying thousands of dollars worth of that stock. I bought some last night. I'm going to probably buy some more tomorrow. It's a long-term investment for my family, and so each week I can send you some of these stock market or profit alerts each week that'll help you invest. I'll also send you the $5 a day investing plan. I'll send you the training I did on how to make money without working. All these things, right? So I'd love to be one of your finance teachers if you are interested. And in the Black Business School, we have a lot of free stuff you can take advantage of. So just text the word stock to 31996. So I think every family needs an economic plan. I think also you can get ahead as a family by making sure your children are trained on economics early. Don't wait until they get 20 years old. Start when they're 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. And then on top of that, on top of the economic plan, there has to be sort of a family and cultural plan. The breakdown of the Black family has been absolutely devastating. I don't know how people feel about things like feminism and all this other stuff. And then there's sort of a male version of feminism kind of happening where men are sort of speaking out and expressing their concerns about the behavior of women and all that. And I hear all that. I think a lot of those arguments are very valid. But one of the things I think you have to really process is how little you gain or how much you lose when you're trying to compete in a team sport as a solo individual. I think that a man, if you notice, for example, for the men, most men who are really successful and doing well typically have a wife that is by their side and they chose a good wife or a good family structure, right? I was watching even Patrick Mahomes, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he has a wife. Now, his wife is white now. She's not Black, but his father's Black, but still, he has this wife next to him. And you think about this, right? Patrick Mahomes has a $400 million contract. He's in his 20s. If he wanted to be a player and just have a bunch of women, he could easily do that. But he chose to have a spouse and a family because there's a stability with that. There's a certain economic rise and momentum you gain from that. And the same thing is true with women. I think that with women, I would encourage you, if you want to understand the roots of family, which I think that should be taught as a class. I really do. I think marriage and family should literally, if I had a Black-owned school, I would have a class called How to Run a Family. Because a family is an institution. A family is like a business. It's one of the institutions they deliberately destroyed, along with the family business. So the rebuilding of those institutions should require, in my view, some intentionality on our part. So again, in the Boyce Watkins School for Children, I would have a class on running a family. I'd also have a class on running a business, because those are 2 out of the 3 institutions that existed before integration that died. The other institution that existed that did not die was the Black church. The church is there, but even church, those who run churches should be trained on economics. They should be trained on family. They should be giving constant lectures and seminars that will shape not just what you know, but also the culture that you subscribe to. Well, why does this matter? Well, because people who come from stable families, they tend to be better off and happier and healthier and everything else. I think also nutrition, health and nutrition, very important. That's another massive wealth drain that hits the Black community. I think that to make it simple, because I know I overtalk stuff. I apologize if it's too much. If it's too much, please just you can feel free to walk out. But those of you that want to hear the whole breakdown, I'd like to keep going with you. I believe that the solutions for Black people is very basic. I don't believe that any good solutions come from the top down. Top down solutions don't tend to work because there's too many people that are controlled. Again, I'm an expert on money. There are too many people that are controlled by the money, and the money causes them to have distorted incentives that don't necessarily benefit you. So to some extent, Black leadership is a racist version of trickle down economics that occurred during the Reagan administration. Trickle down economics is where you have people at the top that have a lot of wealth and power, and they trickle down, their money and their whatever to poor people, and it just does not work. The same thing is true with trickle down politics. The Democrats, and Obama actually used to talk about this, where he would talk about, anybody remember when Obama used to say the rising tide will lift all boats? And people immediately called out that BS and said that's just not the case. That's not the case historically. Anybody remember when Obama was saying that the rising tide will lift all boats? Well, that's trickle down politics. And trickle down politics says if we take care, if you take care of the people at the top, so Biden and the Biden administration, they find their paid off black people, their radio show hosts, their rappers, their favorite TV hosts, etc. They compensate them, and those people, they have a job of taking the message down to the black community. Well, the problem is that when they're carrying water in that way, they're getting the community to do something that is not in their best interest. So when they come and they say, tell the whole black community that we need to have wide open borders so as many immigrants as possible can come south of the border, that's not taking into account the fact that studies show that excessive immigration does not help the black community because the resources, you only have so many resources, right? So whereas a bottom up approach is much better and much more effective, right? So when I'm talking to you, and I'm not trying to be your leader, I want to be an advisor, right? So as an advisor that's training you to be a leader, what I want you to understand that in your little space, in your little household, you've got absolute domain. You have more power than anybody in that house, including me. If you invite me into your home as a guest in your home, I am honored to be there, but that is your castle. You're the king or the queen of that space. So that means that in that space, you get to do what we're begging the government to do. In that space, you get to define the policies in that space. You get to decide what the educational policy is going to be. You get to decide what the economic policy is going to be. You get to decide what the agricultural policy is going to be. Right? Agricultural policy, what kind of food we're going to eat, what kind of food we're going to have in this house, what kind of food we're not going to eat, right? Whatever, right? And then the economic policy, okay, all the kids going to learn about how to start a business. All the kids going to learn how to invest. All the kids going to learn how to save. All the kids going to learn how to be economically responsible. You get to decide the educational policy. Every day we're going to get on the internet and we're going to learn something new every day. We're going to learn these skills that other people may not be learning, but it don't matter. What people are doing on the street doesn't matter up in this house. And I'm gonna tell you like this. Let me just say this. I'm about to hang up with y'all because I'm about to go see my mama. And I'm gonna tell you one thing that my mother did. My mother, I don't know where she got this from, but my mother, when I talk about like being from the hood, like that's, none of us born with a silver spoon in our mouth. Let me just say that. If you went to the neighborhood that my mother grew up in, you would be very nervous because, there's a lot of crime in that neighborhood. So I don't know where she got that wisdom, but one thing that my parents did that I thought was really effective was they never ever cared what other people were doing in their house with their kids. So when I would say, like, why would you punish me for doing XYZ? Billy did the same thing and his mother didn't punish him. My mother would just say, I don't care what Billy did what Billy's mama did. This is what's going to happen in our house. And that was one of the best things that they ever could have done because there were so many things we learned in our household that other kids were not learning. So when I got thrown out into the world and I went to the University of Kentucky, I had no money in my pocket. I had a $500 scholarship. That's literally all the money I had. I had to find a way to survive. Not only did I survive, but I actually thrived. At first, it was hard. It was very difficult. I didn't have the same support I wished that I'd had. But once I got on my feet and started just hustling, I actually had more money in my pocket than all my friends. I had better grades than all my friends. I was more determined than all my friends. And I was on a path to success. And this was not an anomaly. My sister had the same experience. My brother had the same experience. And so there was something different in our household. Not to say our house was perfect, but that was something that was special. And also that stable family structure was extremely beneficial because we didn't have to go off to school wondering if our parents were going to be divorced when we came back home. Or wondering if we didn't have to go off to school with our parents calling us, asking us for money, right? All these crazy things that happen in a lot of our families. it's destabilizing. It's very hard to achieve these high level goals when you got a bunch of ghetto shit happening around every single corner. Right. So even learning isolationism. My father way back years ago, he isolated us from the ghetto stuff happening in certain parts of our family. He was like, no, we're going to be over here. We're going to let them live like that over there. And then, we'll just check in on them every now and then, but we're not bringing their problems into this house because this is our fortress and we're holding this down. So I am telling you, um, there's something to be said about that. I'm sharing that story for a reason. And you got to realize when you talk on the internet, a lot of people are listening and people take things the wrong way. And I have people that, out here that just say all kinds of stupid stuff because I guess that's a sign that people are listening, but I ain't paying attention to them. I'm paying attention to you, and I'm sharing this because of you. I'm sharing this knowing that they're going to misconstrue it, knowing that they're going to, find something to distort or make fun of. I'm saying this because I want you to hear it. I need you to know that the solution is out there. The formulas are out there. But you got to have the courage to stop listening to these dumbass people that are getting these dumbass results that are leading to a bunch of dumbass kids who ain't prepared to compete. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and damn tired of seeing Black people go out into this world unprepared and told that you're nothing but a worthless, lazy bum and that's what you're supposed to be. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of hearing about how disadvantaged we are. I'm tired of hearing about how we can't make it without so-and-so's help. I'm tired of hearing about how horrible it is, how we have no opportunities. And it's like being talked about like you're disabled. I don't like that. And I also don't like the dilution of our birthright. I don't like when we are lumped in with gay people and trans people. Like, well, we got Black folk, we got trans folk, we got LGBT folk. Shut up. Stop that. Stop telling me that being Black is the same as being gay. I ain't got nothing against you being gay, believe me, at all. Do your thing. Be you. I love you. But stop that. That ain't the same thing. Stop leaning on this idea that somehow we're just lumped in this category of everybody who's not a white man. I don't want to be a part of all that. Maybe that's not consistent with who I am. Maybe that's not consistent with my values. Maybe that's just not something that matches who I am. I just don't like any of that, right? So they distort your politics in a horrible, horrible way. So on the big picture scale, I think that we have to make sure it's 100% clear. Like stop connecting us with everybody else. Stop comparing us to everybody else. And also, I really think on an individual level, the solutions are out there, but you got to be intentional. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you if you can go home right now and think about a couple of things you can do with intentionality that will improve the plight of your family in this world. Right? Intentionality might start with saving and investing a little bit more. It might start with learning some new skills on a regular basis. It might start with rethinking how you're treating your kids or your baby's mama or whatever. You can get online and learn how to be a better parent, how to maintain a better family, how to pick better women, how to pick better men, how to heal. A lot of us have to heal too. Like there's so much stuff in there to say about that, but I'm not going to say about it because I've already talked a lot. But there's so many things we can do. So I think this trumps all this stuff that's going on in the politics. There's nothing that's happening politically that I'm saying that's going to change your life in any sort of meaningful or remarkable way. And so one financial concept I'll introduce you to is there's a concept called idiosyncratic versus systematic. Idiosyncratic variables are things that are basically specific to you, right? Like who you are, how hard you work, how much time you spend studying, how much you work out, just specific things to you. And then there's systematic stuff, right? Systematic stuff might be like government policy or, how many jobs there are available or, or the weather or just something that's big, something that affects everybody. And one of the things that's true in not just stock market investing, but also in life is that the idiosyncratic component of your outcomes in life is far more impactful than the systematic stuff. So what that means is that you can have a person where the whole system is against them, where the whole system has been working to sabotage and stop them and undermine them. And that if that person on an individual basis is determined enough and committed enough to overcome the system, they can definitely do that. So, what I want you to do is to lean on that. I want you to lean on this basic idea that the number one variable that determines what happens in your life and the lives of others is what you do. It's what you do. You send a kid to the worst school in America where they're teaching them absolutely nothing. But if that kid has a parent that's telling them to read every day, guess what? That kid's going to have a very good reading level, right? So that what the system's doing is not relevant because what the parent is doing is more important than that. So take advantage of your individual power and stop listening to these stupid people on TV because their only job is to manipulate you, keep you vulnerable, so they can get you to do the bidding of the wealthy benefactors that are paying their bills. Right? That's it. That they're carrying water for people, and I know this because I was invited to be a water carrier. I had a limited amount of time where I was invited in those circles. I remember Al Sharpton introduced me to the president of MSNBC. I kid you not, and I didn't understand. I was like, why is he introducing me to the president of MSNBC? It took me years to figure that out, and I think they were vetting me out. I think they were trying to because Melissa Harris Perry, another scholar, got a show on MSNBC, and I think in hindsight they were considering whether or not I'd be a fit. And I think after they looked me up, they realized I wouldn't be a fit because I kind of stood up to Sharpton when I felt like he was just kind of saying things that I didn't like, and I don't like being bullied. I think when he tried to bully me a little bit, I was basically like I kind of gave him the middle finger. And then another time where I remember being invited in those spaces where I saw how the water gets carried is I still remember getting those calls from the Obama administration when Obama first got elected. And I remember that what I thought was going to be a two-way conversation where I thought that they wanted to hear what the Black community needed so that Obama could fulfill his commitment to the Black community. It was actually the opposite. They weren't looking to hear what the Black community needed. They were there to tell me what to tell Black people about what the Obama administration wanted. And I remember saying, I don't like the tone of this. This is BS. Like you're telling people what to do instead of they should be telling you what to do. Like it shouldn't be going that way. So there is a deliberate effort to manipulate Black people. And unfortunately, we've proven ourselves to be the most manipulable people out here. And I'm telling you, the plantation energy is strong. It's super strong. You'll have Black people that will get mad at you for being an independent thinker. Like they'll just what's wrong with you? Like they'll beat you worse than a white man will. It's the craziest thing. So I think you just got to resist. You just got to, when people start acting crazy or whatever, you forgive them for they know not what they do. You let them be as ignorant as they want to be. And you still stand your ground and you be the person that you're supposed to be because you have a right to be a free thinking American. You have every right to do what's best for your family. You have every right to do what you believe that you need to do. And anybody who doesn't agree with that, I question whether or not they actually care about you. That's my 2 cents. That's what I believe, and I'm sticking to it. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm about to get out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. If you want to find this podcast on Spotify, you can go to Spotify and just look up my name, Boyce Watkins. You'll find it there. Also, if you'd like to get Dr. Boyce stock alerts or profit alerts, you can text the word stock to 31996. I'll send you some stocks that I like. I just sent you a stock this morning. I'll send another one in a few days. I'll also send you the $5 a day investing plan and some other things. And I'll send you a digital copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, A New Paradigm for Black America. It's a 50-year plan for the Black community. Actually, it was a 60-year plan at the time I wrote it, but now it's a 50-year plan because we've gone through the first 10 years of the plan and the vision. And it centers around wealth, education, family, and community. And I believe that if we think about this plan properly and implement this in a meaningful way, I think this will help us get to where we want to get to, but it takes a while to develop that level of power. So I'll send you that for free. Also, don't forget the All Black National Convention happens October 20th in Atlanta at the Marriott Marquis. So if you'd like to join us at the All Black National Convention, then feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. Not only can you buy a pass, but if you want to be a vendor and make money, you have a Black-owned business, there are plenty of people there that want to buy Black. They're prepared to do this. They understand the intentionality of it. And then two, if you want to be a sponsor, we will promote you on that platform and this platform. So if you have a business that could use some extra marketing and you want some growth and you respect what we do over here, then feel free. And if you qualify to be a sponsor, we don't let everybody sponsor. So for example, corporations like McDonald's and Burger King, we're not going to have, this is brought to you by Burger King. That's just not going to work. But if you qualify as a sponsor, then we can consider doing a deal with you. and market your business on this platform. So anyway, God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day. I will see you soon, and I hope this conversation helps somebody. And I'm going to go actually take me a nap, and I'm going to see my mama. So I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good day. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boy's TV. Here we are.